Monica Evans was a 28-year-old black woman who had recently become a lawyer. She had grown up in a working-class neighborhood and knew firsthand how unjust the world could be. Her father had been falsely accused of a crime when she was a teenager, and seeing him fight for his innocence inspired her to become a lawyer. Monica wasn't just any lawyer. She was passionate, fearless, and determined to stand up for those who couldn't fight for themselves. One Friday evening, Monica was driving home from a long day at her firm. She had just wrapped up a difficult case and was looking forward to a quiet weekend. Her car was a modest sedan, not flashy, but reliable. As she drove through a quiet residential neighborhood, flashing blue lights appeared in her rearview mirror. She pulled over, confused. She wasn't speeding and hadn't broken any traffic laws. She rolled down her window as the officer approached. His name tag read, Officer Peterson. He was tall, white, and in his late 40s, with a hardened face that showed no trace of kindness. "License and registration," Peterson barked, his tone sharp and impatient. Monica handed over her documents calmly. "Is there a problem, officer?" she asked politely. Peterson narrowed his eyes at her. "Step out of the car," he demanded. "Why?" Monica asked, trying to keep her voice steady. "Don't question me. Step out of the car now," he snapped, his hand moving toward his holster. Monica felt her stomach twist, but she complied. She stepped out of the car, her hands visible, knowing better than to make any sudden moves. "You match the description of someone we're looking for," Peterson said, his eyes scanning her as if she were a criminal. Monica raised her eyebrows. "And what description is that?" "A black woman driving a car that doesn't seem like hers," Peterson said bluntly. Monica froze. She couldn't believe what she was hearing. "Excuse me?" "You heard me," Peterson said, his tone laced with arrogance. "What are you doing in this neighborhood anyway?" "I live here," Monica replied firmly, though her heart was racing. Peterson scoffed. "Sure you do. Let's see what you've got in the trunk." Without waiting for her consent, he walked to her car and began searching it. Monica stood on the curb, humiliated and furious. She knew this was illegal. She knew her rights. "Officer, you have no probable cause to search my vehicle," she said. Peterson turned to her, his face contorted with anger. "Are you a lawyer or something?" "As a matter of fact, I am," Monica said, her voice steady now. That only seemed to make Peterson angrier. "Yeah, well, let's see if being a lawyer helps you now." He grabbed her arm roughly and twisted it behind her back. Monica winced in pain but didn't cry out. She knew she couldn't give him the satisfaction. "Resisting arrest," Peterson muttered as he tightened the handcuffs around her wrists. At the police station, Monica was booked and placed in a holding cell. She sat there for hours, replaying the events in her mind. She hadn't done anything wrong, yet here she was. But Monica wasn't the kind of person to back down. She knew exactly what she had to do. The next morning, Monica called her colleague, David Wright, a civil rights attorney known for taking on cases of police misconduct. David listened carefully as Monica recounted every detail. "This is beyond unacceptable," David said. "We're taking this to court." Monica nodded. "Not just for me, but for everyone he's done this to." Over the next few weeks, Monica and David worked tirelessly to build their case. They gathered evidence, including surveillance footage from nearby businesses that showed Peterson searching her car without permission. They also interviewed other people who had filed complaints against Peterson, revealing a pattern of racial profiling and abuse of power. The trial was intense. Peterson sat in the defendant's chair, his demeanor cold and unrepentant. Monica testified with poise and precision, recounting the events of that night with raw emotion. "I was treated like a criminal for no reason other than the color of my skin," she said, her voice steady but filled with passion. "This wasn't just an abuse of power. It was an attack on my humanity." David presented the evidence with skill, leaving no doubt about Peterson's actions. The jury listened intently, their faces a mix of anger and sympathy. When it was Peterson's turn to testify, his arrogance was on full display. He showed no remorse, insisting he had done nothing wrong. But the evidence against him was overwhelming. After days of deliberation, The jury reached a verdict. Peterson was found guilty of violating Monica's civil rights and was ordered to pay significant damages. He was also dismissed from the police force, and an investigation was launched into his past conduct. Monica felt a mix of relief and vindication. It wasn't just about the money, it was about standing up for what was right. Months later, Monica received a letter from a young woman who had seen her story on the news. "Because of you, I know it's okay to fight back." The letter read. Monica smiled as she folded the letter. She knew the fight wasn't over, but this was a victory, a step toward justice in a system that so often failed people like her. And she wasn't done yet. She would keep fighting, not just for herself, but for everyone who needed someone to stand up and say, "Enough is enough." That's all the story, friends. I hope you liked it. Please subscribe to my channel for more exciting content. And don't forget to comment below and let me know what country you're watching from.